Hey, how are we doing? My name is Eric. This is the 5109 Hustle, and welcome to a What Sold video ties edition. I've sold, oh gosh, 4 or 5 ties just in the last couple days, and I've had a couple hundred ties come in that need to be sorted through and listed. So I've got ties on the mind, and I thought I would do a What Sold all ties video. These are the last 25 ties that I've sold. I've sold about 45 over the last 90 days, so selling one just about every other day. But that is about to pick up as I go on a tie listing binge. So I like ties because I get them very cheaply. My average buy cost is around 65 cents. So when one sells, the last time I ran the numbers, my average profit is about $9 on ties. All the ties I'm about to show you sold most likely at 15% off because I have a public coupon running for 15% off right now. So, tie number one, Joseph A. Bank Premier Collection. This is a red and blue striped tie. Horizontal stripes, a little more uncommon than diagonal. But Joseph A. Bank continues to pull around this price point for me, around 15 bucks. Let's say 13 because it was probably 15% off. But for a nice looking Joseph A. Bank, you can definitely expect to get 15 bucks or higher for it. Here's an interesting Vineyard Vines tie. So Vineyard Vines does production, or they will produce ties for organizations or companies, or in this case, a school. So you see where it says custom collection, and there on the little end it had Brunswick School. So I was able to gather that that B was for Brunswick School. And I still bought it because it was Vineyard Vines. I thought, hey, maybe some alumni from the school wants it or whatever. Googled the school, and they had notable alumni in that the Winklevoss twins. It was the prep school that they went to. And this wasn't listed for terribly long and did sell for $18.95 or possibly 15% off. I've sold at least one other that I remember Vineyard Vines tie like that was for some like banking or finance company. And I haven't had trouble selling them so far. So let's see. Here we have this is Izod. Not something you normally want to list, but this came in a bulk buy, and it was just a very nice blue and yellow check pattern. So I sold it, $10.95. We have another check pattern, Tommy Hilfiger. This is a skinny tie. Not a lot to say for it other than, I don't know. I find that plaids and check plaids seem to sell well. I don't know if the numbers hold true to that or not. But for me, they do. Here's a really cool looking polka dot tie. Polka Dots is another pattern that seems to do well. Not a brand I was familiar with, but when I was researching it seemed like I could price it up a little bit higher. So $17.95 on that one. This is a very old listing of Robert Talbot Best of Class. This was a mistake I was making when I first got into reselling, and I was thrifting a lot of my ties. And I had seen some bad info or some outdated info that Robert Talbot, specifically Best of Class ties, could be an okay pickup. So this just wound up taking forever to sell, even though it's pretty cool looking. And it's an old enough listing, I still had best offer on it. Someone offered me $8. I was like, sure, go ahead, take it. This is a lot of three. One of my original tie bulk buys, all the ties I didn't feel like I could get at least $10 for. I put in lots of three like this. And I chose lots of three because you can ship three ties still in the 8 to 12 ounce range for around $4-ish. So the shipping doesn't completely tank the whole deal. Don't know if I'm going to repeat that or not with future bulk buys. I like listing them individually more than in the lots, but cheap ties, what are you going to do? Here's a Kenneth Cole. It's to do with tags. It's a pink solid tie. I got 50 or 60 sort of department store quality ties like this one time, and that's one of those. Malaysian Police tie. This came in a bulk buy. It literally says Malaysian Police on the back. Or if you translate that's what it means. So I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have sold that. it just looked like a nice rep tie to me. It did go global shipping, so there you go. You can sell a lot of different ties. Here's a good example of when it's okay to sell a trashier brand. It's Jeffrey Bean, and it's just such a nice, big, bold paisley that I thought I would be able to sell that individually just based on the look, and it did sell, $14.95. Gildas Club refers to Gilda Radner. It seems like at one time every celebrity and their brother had some kind of tie line. And I don't know the exact story behind Gilda's Club. I think it had something to do with raising money for something, but I've always liked these sort of abstract watercolor looking patterns. So I listed that, and somebody liked it and bought it, and gave me good feedback, and the whole deal. $12.95 on that one. This is, basically like a novelty tie. It's got these different primates on it. And so I went with the keyword zookeeper, and I mentioned what the different animals were, just thinking like someone that worked at a zoo or maybe someone who studies these animals, I don't know, would want it. It did eventually sell here, $12.95, and also went global shipping, so that went overseas. This is a brand I'd never heard of before, Courage, but it came in a bulk buy. Seemed like a nice thick tie, silk, just a good silver, blue, black pattern. $10.95 free shipping. You'll see some at $10.95. That's my older price point. Current bulk buys and moving forward, I pretty much want $12.95 or more for a tie to be listed individually. Here's another one from that sort of bulk department store-ish, new with tags purchase. Just a solid, kind of skinny Alphony tie. Alphony sucks, but it was new with tags and someone bought it, so we're happy. This is an extremely old listing. If you're going to list Polo Ralph Lauren ties, the absolute best ones to get either will have some kind of huge graphic on it of like a polo player, but the ones that have embroidered pony at the bottom with a big tip, I find to be the best. Beyond that, plaids, pastels, things like that. I don't know. I bought this long ago, and I don't know if it was just too weird of a pattern. It doesn't have the pony on it. It just took forever and ever and ever to sell. Kind of get like a Pokemon hamburger vibe from it, but yeah, nobody wanted this, and it finally sold for $12.95 free shipping. Probably after like 2 or 3 years. Yeah, it was a bad one. Here's Mochino. Not much to say about it. It's got blue squares on it, and it sold for $12.95 free shipping. They're all free shipping. Guess I should mention. This is Tommy Bahama floral tie, and I actually thrifted this. Once I found 7 or 8 Tommy Bahama ties all at one thrift store, and went ahead and picked them all up. And they've all been selling through just fine. So $14.95 on that one. This is another tie I thrifted, IKE Bahar. Their shirts suck. I wouldn't buy them, but they do seem to be able to command still some good value on the ties. And this is just a nice black tie with these sort of lavender colored stripes. $19.95 on that one. And on a thrifted tie, I'm usually in it for $1 or $1.49. It depends where I got it from. I think those were $1.49. Here is just, this is an old sort of no-name brand, came in one of my bulk buys. And again, I've always had good luck with these abstract kind of watercolory looking ties, so someone came along and bought that, $14.95. All right, this is another thrifted tie. Had never heard of the brand before, but picked it up, solely for content. That's something that can be very important to certain tie buyers. So this had the sort of beach chair, beach umbrella, beachy theme going for it, and that did sell, $13.95. Here is Baccarat. Wasn't a brand I was super familiar with until I started doing bulk buys of ties. Um, they do seem to be okay in terms of demand. I mean, for ties, they're not flying off the shelves, but you can price these up a little higher, similar to what we just saw with IKE Bahar. So there you go. This is another thrifted tie. I picked this one up at the same time as that IKE Bahar we just saw. So it's Burberry. I continue to find Burberry, at least in terms of men's dresswear, to be a very strong brand. And there you go, Burberry London. And it's just red with black stripes. I do remember that one definitely sold on the 15% off coupon. So it was closer to like $23, I think is what they were in on. And these next two were purchased by the same buyer. Enrico Kovari, who knows about the brand, but it's hard to go wrong with this kind of colorful tie like this. You know, it's abstract, you kind of a stained glass vibe, um, stripe. There's a lot of different things you could say about it, but yeah. So one buyer bought that, $12.95, and this Jerry Garcia. This came in a bulk buy. I don't thrift a lot of Jerry Garcia unless it's just super visually cool. But this is like a repeating pattern. I almost get like a gnome, garden gnome vibe from it. But yeah, whatever. $12.95. So between the two ties and the 15% off, I think they were in for around $21 or something like that. But we get to ship both in one package, so not bad there. Your Black and Brown, a great brand to pass on at the thrift. This came in a bulk buy. Going for it is that it's a long tie, being over 60 inches, and just a very cool paisley pattern on a deep, rich brown background. You don't see a lot of ties like that, so priced that one up a little bit higher at $14.95 and was able to sell it. And this is my most recent one I just sold today. It's just a black pattern. It's sort of solid, but it's got this check pattern in it, woven into it, and it's Nicole Miller. So Nicole Miller, I will price higher depending on the tie. This sort of simple one, I just put at $12.95. But she makes a lot of ties with just crazy patterns and themed designs on them. And some of those can go for quite a bit more than $12.95. So that is the last 25, I think actually 26 ties that I've sold on eBay. And hopefully that gives you an idea of sort of the types of ties that you might want to look out for and list, and some of the prices that you can get for them. Like I said, moving forward, I don't like to list a tie for less than $12.95. And if I'm able to get that kind of pricing for it, then between those and the ones that sell higher, if I can be right in that, say, $8 to $10 profit range on a tie, I'm happy to do it.